The Gospel of Matthew is a profound and insightful account of the life, teachings and works of Jesus Christ. It brings to light the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies, showcasing Jesus as the long-awaited Messiah. Through parables, miracles and sermons, Matthew reveals the depth of Jesus' ministry and his message of salvation and love. This Gospel emphasizes the kingdom of heaven and the importance of righteousness, compassion and forgiveness. When was Matthew written? The Gospel of Matthew was written just before or around the year 70 AD. This period was marked by significant events and transitions within the early Christian community. Who was the author? Authorship of the Gospel of Matthew is traditionally ascribed to Matthew, one of the 12 apostles. Matthew, also known as Levi, was a tax collector before he was called to follow Jesus. People and places. The Gospel of Matthew features many significant figures and locations. Key people include Jesus, Herod, John the Baptist, the 12 disciples, Pilate, the Sadducees, and the Pharisees. Important places mentioned are Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Galilee, and Judea. These individuals and places play crucial roles in the unfolding narrative of Jesus' life and ministry. Sound bites, and behold, a voice out of the heavens said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Chapter 3, verse 17. But he answered and said, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God." Chapter 4, verse 4. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Chapter 16, verse 26. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who has been crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, just as he said. Come, see the place where he was lying." Chapter 28, verses 5 and 6. The messianic link, the Messiah is the son of David, as mentioned in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. He would be born of God, as stated in chapter 1, verse 18, and prophesied in Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. The King of the Jews, as noted in Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. He would return from Egypt, fulfilling the prophecy in Matthew chapter 2, verse 15, and Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. The Messiah is the narrow gate, found in chapter 7, verse 13. The Messiah is also depicted as the bridegroom in chapter 9. The book. The main purpose of Matthew is to convince the Jewish people that Jesus is indeed the King and Messiah that was promised throughout the Old Testament writings. He goes to great lengths to point out the genealogy of Jesus, thereby qualifying his claim to the title of Messiah or Saviour. The first 17 verses of the first chapter lay out his birth line, so as to leave no doubt as to his credentials, as put forward by the writers of old. Thereafter, Matthew concentrates on the life and works of Jesus, in particular equating his miracles with the Old Testament prophecies relating to the life and death of the coming Messiah. This he uses as evidence of Jesus as Messiah. Chapter 10 sees the naming and instruction of the 12 disciples for service, whilst chapters 14 to 20 cover the ministry of Jesus throughout the land of Galilee and Judea. The final chapters, 27 and 28, culminate in the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Notes and quotes. As an introduction to New Testament Christianity, the book of Matthew is excellent, as it is laid out in a very straightforward, logical way that is easy to follow. As a guide to where Jesus was mentioned in the Old Testament, it is again an excellent book for revealing how Jesus was, in fact, the fulfillment of the Old Testament prophecies relating to his birth, death, and ministry while he walked amongst us. Matthew had a hard time convincing the Jewish leadership amongst the Pharisees and Sadducees of Jesus' authority, as they had already constructed their own image of what he would be like when he appeared. And this Jesus did not fit the bill, even though the evidence was right before their eyes. It is easy to get ourselves locked into preconceptions of the way things should be, leaving us open to rejecting the truth when it is not wearing the coat we have made for it. The evidence pointing to Jesus as the promised Messiah is overwhelming and in accordance with scriptural promises, and yet some people just want more and more evidence. Thanks for listening in. For more short Bible summaries, please visit this channel or our blog at thebiblebrief.com.